Hey students, welcome back to Buddy. Let's look at chapter 17 notes before we read chapter 18. So little T and his family, they were talking about the upcoming storm and their experience with the last one. And Daddy's saying, oh, we always get warnings. We always have to evacuate. Sometimes it's not really such a big storm. Okay? But then for this one, the governor said that evacuation is mandatory. Brother James prays and talks to the church members about the storm and evacuating. The family packs and prepares to evacuate. Little T makes a plan in his mind about how he can stay during the hurricane to protect Buddy. But little T has to leave Buddy in the upstairs bathroom. And Daddy says just 2 days. So in Daddy's opinion, they'll be back in 2 days, based on his experience with storms and New Orleans. So we will see, won't we? Buddy, chapter 18. Okay, so they're in the car and they're leaving and they're going to go to Mississippi to stay with Aunt Joyce, okay? It usually takes an hour and a half to get to Aunt Joyce's place in Mississippi. This time it takes 8 hours. We're sitting on the superhighway with everybody and his brother. The cars are backed up along the road as far as you can see, all shining in the hot sun. So everybody is leaving New Orleans all at once. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's bumper to bumper to bumper traffic. All right? Imagine sitting in the car all that time. When we're on the bridge crossing Lake Pontchartrain, some cars start driving down the shoulder lane and Daddy starts cussing. Mama says, T Jr., that doesn't help. And he shuts up. It takes us 4 hours just to get from our house to the other side of that bridge. Once we get across the lake, I see a man get out of the passenger door of a car and walk along the side of the road for a while. He bends down, touches his toes a few times, and does some jumping jacks. Then he turns around and goes back to his car. Traffic is moving that slow. Whoops. Baby Terrell starts up fussing and Grandpa T's got his head tilted back as usual. Tanya's singing to herself in the back seat. After a while, Mama starts up some hymns. I wish I had my Game Boy back. 8 hours is a long time to sit in a car that ain't hardly moving. We make Aunt Joyce's house long after dark. She's got a whole plate of fried chicken waiting and a big old pot of gumbo. We eat and we talk. I tell Aunt Joyce all about Buddy. She says she had a dog once. She named him Spot because he had a white circle around one eye. He had 4 legs but lost part of his ear in a fight. Aunt Joyce can't remember what became of Spot. She says she would have to ask her mama, and her mama's passed. Daddy and Grandpa T sit out on the front porch and drink their beer. They don't have any neighbors to talk to because we're so far out in the country. There ain't no other houses, there ain't no cars, there ain't no lights. So Aunt Joyce lives in a remote area and she doesn't have neighbors on the same block or even in blocks near her. Tanya's running around in the dark trying to catch fireflies while Aunt Joyce looks for a jar. Mom is sitting on the swing holding baby Terrell and humming. Mm-hmm. I walk out into the open yard where Aunt Joyce has a little garden growing tomatoes. At home, you have to lift the tomatoes up to your nose and give them a good sniff if you want to smell them. Here, they soak up the sun all day and then sit there in the dark, sending off their tomato smell to everybody in the yard. I get myself a good noseful and then walk further out under the trees. Aunt Joyce must have 50 trees in her yard. They're tall pine trees. What's going to happen to these trees if there's a storm, students? I got to bend my head way back to see the needles all at the top. The wind is moving them just the tiniest bit, and they're making a quiet whoosh, whooshing sound. I can see lots of stars through the trees, but I can see the clouds are starting to blow in too. When I get back to the porch, Daddy and Grandpa T are looking up. They're feeling the air. It's coming, Grandpa T says. I'll be glad when it's gone, Mama says. I already want to lie down in my own bed. I hear her voice in the dark, and I think how quiet it is at home right now, with everybody gone. How quiet and dark. I'm wondering what Buddy is thinking. I'm wondering if he's scared. I wrinkle up my forehead and I squinch my eyes shut. And I send him a message. 2 days, Buddy, I think. Just wait 2 days. I would like you guys to stop for a second and just, can you wrinkle up your forehead right now? Can you squinch your eyes shut? How does that feel? Your eyes are shut. You wrinkled up your forehead. And now send a message to someone. Or just say, hey, buddy, 2 days, just 2 more days, right? Okay, so that's what little T's doing. Little T's sending Buddy a message. Like in his heart and in his mind. And he's hoping Buddy like somehow receives this message. Like he's talking to Buddy. Buddy can't hear him, but little T's sending him this message. When I wake up Monday morning, I'm covered in sweat. We're all sleeping in the same room again. Mama and Daddy are on the bed. Grandpa T is on a sofa pushed against the wall. Baby Terrell's in a crib borrowed from the people down the road. Me and Tanya are rolled up in blankets on the floor. The ceiling fan ain't moving, and there ain't no air conditioning coming out the vents. There ain't no air coming out the vents. The alarm clock is dead. What does that mean? No air, the alarm clock is not working, the ceiling fan's not working. What happened? I'm laying there sweating and listening to the wind. I ain't never heard wind like that before. It sounds like a ship on the river and a cat screaming and a whistle blowing all at the same time. And it don't stop. It just keeps going on and on and on. The pipes in the walls are rattling and the glass in the windows is shaking. The curtains are blowing in and out, even though the windows are locked shut. Every once in a while, the rain slams against the windows like somebody threw a bucket of gravel straight at the glass. I hear footsteps, and it's Mama. She's tippy-toeing across the room. She pulls baby Terrell out of the crib. He's so asleep, he almost flops out of her arms. She takes him in the bed with her. I see her crawling under the covers and tucking baby Terrell up between her and Daddy. I feel Tanya next to me. In the dark, I can barely see her eyes shining at me, wide open and still. Don't be scared, I whisper and pull her closer. Underneath all the sounds of the wind, there's a howling sound. Oh, a howling sound like Buddy's. I'm laying there with Tanya all snugged up next to me, and I feel like I can hear him all the way in New Orleans. He's sitting on that cold floor. That old house is shaking, and he's hearing the wind just like I am. He's tilting his head back. His mouth is opening up, and out comes that sound. You left me, little T, he's saying. And all the sadness in his heart is just pouring out in that little bitty bathroom all by himself. I'm squinching up my eyes and trying to send him a message. Be brave, buddy, I'm saying. Be brave. Okay, so little T sends Buddy another message. And then all of a sudden, something outside explodes, loud, like a bomb's been dropped. And again, and again, and again. I hear Mama's voice praying. She's praying almost as loud as the wind, but I can't make out her words. And then Daddy's bending down beside us and saying, everybody under the bed. And we're all crowding up under where it's dusty. And there are probably spiders, but we ain't thinking about that. Daddy's head is up beside me, and I whisper in his ears, what's that sound, Daddy? The trees, Daddy says. All those pine trees are popping in two. Now remember, Aunt Joyce had about 50 pine trees in her yard. We lay under the bed and listen. One after the other, the trees explode, and we hear the sound of the branches breaking as they crash past each other to the ground. And then they hit, and sometimes the whole house bounces. And somewhere in the house, we hear glass shatter, and always we hear that wind blowing and screaming and howling. And now I'm thinking about the window in our bathroom and the pecan tree beside our house. And my mind is so tight with pictures, I can't send any more messages to Buddy. Because little T is just thinking in his mind what the house must look like, what's going on with the pecan tree. He's visualizing Buddy in the bathroom, and it's occupying all the space in his mind. He's so overwhelmed with what he's imagining is happening, he doesn't have any room left to even send Buddy another message. We're laying there so long, I forget there's any other place to be. I forget my name is little T. It's almost like being asleep, except it's completely different. I feel Daddy beside me. Sometimes he's stiff. Sometimes he's praying. When I remember, I say my prayers too, and I cross my fingers, just in case. When it's finally quiet, we creep out from under the bed. Grandpa T's so stiff, he can't hardly move. Mom has got dust balls in her hair. And Tanya's practically sucked her thumb off her hand. And baby Terrell needs a new diaper. Bad. We find Aunt Joyce locked in her bathroom. Daddy gets her to come out. All together, we open the front door and look out into the drippy morning sun. All the pine trees in her yard are down. Every single one. And the air smells sparkly and clean, like a Christmas tree lot. The electricity pole is broke in two, and half is laying on the ground. One little tree is leaning on the roof of the front porch. All the other trees between the house and the road are snapped and cracked and blocking the driveway. Our car is crushed and Aunt Joyce's car is penned in between two tree trunks twice as big around as a utility pole. We ain't going nowhere soon, Grandpa Cheese says. Aunt Joyce bends down and picks up something laying on the front porch. It's a shingle. It's a shingle. Then I see the yard is full of them. She sighs. We don't have any electricity, she says. Don't open the refrigerator unless you have to. We'll fire up the grill to cook. The rescue trucks will come soon. I look at Daddy. You said 2 days. He looks back at me. What do you want me to do about it? He says, and goes clomping out on the porch to sit. Wow, that was some storm, huh? Okay, boy, oh boy. Chapter 18 notes. So the setting, they're at Aunt Joyce's house in Mississippi, and the new character introduced is Aunt Joyce. Here's the plot. Little T's family drove 8 hours to Aunt Joyce's house in Mississippi. Little T's family sleep in the same room. Little T misses Buddy and sends him encouraging messages. The hurricane comes to Mississippi and causes destruction around Aunt Joyce's home. There's no electricity or transportation. Remember, her road is blocked and their cars are destroyed. Here's the stop and jot. Little T sends Buddy messages. Now, your job is to write a message back to Little T, but you're going to be Buddy. You're going to be the dog, okay? So you're going to send Little T some messages. You're Buddy, and you're going to send him some encouraging words, or you're going to tell him what's going on or what he's experiencing as a dog. Remember, you're going to be Buddy, sending Little T some messages. Okay, ciao for now, and I will see you for chapter 19. Bye.